Remember when we restored the Death Star space station and I said it's not so much about repairing it as it is just finding unbroken parts to replace the broken ones? So you have to hybrid together 2 or 3 incomplete playsets to get one good one? Well, I can tell you that the Ninja Turtles sewer playset from 1989 is exactly the same way.
They'll need their rest, because tomorrow we're going to find the Shredder and finish him.
Our good friends Darren and Andrea are masters at thrift store hunting. Every Sunday they go to thrift stores and Goodwills and find some amazing things. And a few months ago they found this Ninja Turtles sewer playset, and it still had the original box, and it looked like most of the parts were still with it. So they asked me if I wanted it for the RetroBlasting archive. I said absolutely, because I plan to do a Ninja Turtles feature at some point, and I wanted to have the playset as part of that video to talk about. I thought because the playset had sold in large numbers, that it wouldn't be hard to find the missing parts and put everything back together. But I underestimated the rarity of some of these pieces. The first thing we did when we got the playset was, of course, assess what was missing and what was broken. It was actually harder to figure out what was missing than I thought. Unlike with G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, and even Masters of the Universe, Ninja Turtles surprisingly doesn't have a lot of easily accessible information regarding the specifics of each toy. And I wasn't ready to just scour message board after message board looking for little kernels of information. So what I did was I went on eBay and found complete examples and then just looked at the photos microscopically to try and figure out what was missing. And then after that, it was a matter of going out there and finding lots of parts to bring in so that we could supplement the ones we didn't have. And then it became kind of a grab bag situation where now what we're going to do is pick out the choice parts from this pile, some of which we only have one to choose from, and put together a complete playset. And I've found some interesting things out about this playset that I didn't see documentation for online anywhere. So let's get started. As you can see from this pile, the playset is really a series of walls, panels, and little roof pieces. It's supposed to simulate a sewer with a small street surface, but it's really just 2 boxes kind of crammed together with some electrical poles on top. So what I'm going to do is start building the main area, which on the box is sort of the Ninja Turtles' main hideout. Get that built up, and then we'll move on from there. The first step, of course, is finding the right platform to go to. I have 2 platforms here. This is a main one. I believe it goes like this, with this weird kind of bed matting right here with a sticker on it. And then I have another one right here. And it looks pretty scratched up. But as you can see, this is one of the common issues that occurs with this playset. You notice how the stickers are actually different between the two? There are so many stickers that came with this playset, and I can't figure out what all of them were. So I'm just going to have to determine that, well, this one's kind of wonky with the stickering, and this one has more stickers, but this particular platform is in much worse shape than this one. So I'm going to go with this one and hope that this sticker shows up somewhere else later. I've discovered that this piece is terrible about warping. It doesn't like to sit into the side very well. Fortunately, the one that has the better sticker options, that actually has the stickers in the right place, this one right here, doesn't seem to be as warped as the other one by a slight hair. So I'm going to go with this one. I just noticed that the wall that I wanted to choose actually has rustier screws than the wall I'm going to get rid of. When I say get rid of, I'm just going to resell it. I'm not going to throw it away. But I've decided I'm going to transfer the better screws over to the one I want, because if I'm going to do a restoration of this piece, I might as well get the best parts, right? The tolerances on these walls are tight, so there's no latitude here, but you do have to be a little brutal with this playset to get it together. This is the back wall of the sewer playset, and this is what's going to give you a lot of headaches if you're trying to collect a loose, complete example. Many sellers out there are going to think that they have a complete playset, and they haven't bothered to take stock of the 3 wires that are attached to the monitor system. Now the one on the back top is usually intact because it's actually run through, behind, and underneath the monitor itself, so generally it doesn't come loose. But these other 2 are removable, and they're both different. So you got to be careful when you're looking for a sewer playset to get all 3 wires, especially these 2 bottom ones. One thing I will mention about this panel is that you really want to be careful when you have options to get the best parts in between all of the walls that you have in your possession. For example, this is a clear plastic window, and it can yellow over time. So since I had 3 options, and because this is all screwed together, what I decided to do was disassemble the entire piece on all 3 of them and pick the best parts from all 3 to put together one super wall. Also remember, there's a small piece, the back step, that goes on the back side of the main room on this tab. And it's necessary because this is where you simulate the monitor system, the security system for the Ninja Turtles. This is where a bad guy character can step up and look through the view screen, kind of like William Shatner in Airplane 2. The elevator was one of the first big mysteries I ran into as I was putting this back together. The playset that I got originally just came with the elevator platform. It didn't come with the front railing. So I thought, well, I'm going to order a front railing and get it working again. Well, unfortunately, when I got the front railing, I got this one. And you'll notice that it has these 2 small posts on either end of the piece. Now what makes this impossible is that the actual mounting points on the elevator platform itself are just 2 trenches. They're just 2 slots. There's nowhere for those posts to go. And I thought, well, I must be going crazy. So I went back and looked for another railing on eBay and tried to look closer. Never found one that didn't have these posts. So I went online to find other elevator platforms because clearly something was wrong with mine, I thought. And look at what I found. This elevator platform. It has 2 holes for the posts and the railing. And look at that, it has reinforced trenches for the slots. I thought, oh, this is interesting. Well, then I ended up getting another playset full of parts to use because I needed some other stuff. And wouldn't you know it, it came with one of the ones like mine, and it came with a railing. And this railing does not have the posts. Now, I will tell you, this railing with the post system is much more common on eBay than this one. And I have a feeling that this one was the original configuration with just the slots for these trenches. And I have a feeling that it wasn't deemed secure enough and kept falling off when the elevator was operated. And so they went to this version, which is much more sturdy when this railing is installed. Now, for the purposes of my restoration, I've decided I'm going to go with the earliest and more scarce version, so I'm just going to stick with this one because I'm not going to be playing with it, so it's not going to bother me very much. Trial and error is the name of the game, and this one still has factory plastic in the way, keeping the mounting post from going all the way through like it should. So it looks like we'll have to do some impromptu modification on this little guy, as so. And that, messy as it is, should give us the tension we need. Or not. This took about 5 to 10 minutes of modification, but finally fits in there nicely, secure. And this is another little trouble piece for you. The radar dish that lifts the elevator up and down on the side, often always missing. So watch out for that when you're buying a sewer playset, because while they're not impossible to come by, and they're not the hardest part to find on this playset, they're one of the harder ones. It comes up ever so often, but you're going to have to set up an eBay search or really just trade around to find one. For your electrical poles on the street surface, remember to always look and find out if these are broken off or if any of the steps are broken off or stressed. You really don't want that to happen. Now, you can find these pretty easily, but you don't have to if you look carefully the first time. The next step involves putting the sewer pipes on. Now, the sewer playset came with, I believe, 4 extensions that were straight and 1 extension that was curved. From everything I can see here, that is the case. The ones on the back of the box happen to be almost like prototypes, where they show one that's all one solid piece, and then almost like one solid piece here, and then the curved piece right here, but then they changed the actual size of these pipes and made them more sectional so that you could customize it. So what I'm going to do is opt for 1 curved piece, and then I'd say 3, maybe 4 of these, since I have a number to choose from. The last 3 pieces are some of the most easily lost, and they're a pain in the butt to find if they're not with the playset. Number 1 is the manhole cover, which is always necessary for a Ninja Turtles adventure. Number 2 is the bomb type mine device that gets dropped down here as an action feature. That can often get lost, and I've noticed that most people stow it right here when they're not using it, but you can put it, I guess, anywhere. And then the final piece, the one that caused this whole saga to begin with, was a tiny fire hydrant plug that goes right here by the fire hydrant. Looks like this. I have no idea why they decided to put this piece with the playset, because it serves no action value. It's just one of those little detail pieces that gets lost. I wish they would have at least made it permanently attached to this section so no one would have to go hunting for it. But unless you want to buy a half-complete playset, which often doesn't have this anyway, you're never going to find one of these things on eBay. I've seen one in the last 4 months. So let's put that there. And that's it. That is the Ninja Turtles sewer playset. It's been a lot of fun putting this playset back together and seeing it for the first time in my possession. I never had this playset growing up. My brother was the one who was into Ninja Turtles, and he didn't have it. But I can tell that this playset would have been a lot of fun had I been of age to play with it. It has a lot of great features, has a few little quirks. The Ninja Turtles all have the traditional holes in their feet to presumably have playsets that have foot pegs for them, and yet there are no foot pegs on this playset. But as you can tell, there are a few quirky things about it when you're piecing together a loose, complete example that you want to watch for. But if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, I can tell you honestly, if you don't have this in your collection, your collection is not complete. That's a glaring hole. I can almost understand not having the Technodrome because it's the bad guy hideout, but not having the original sewer playset I think would be a big shame. So it's been fun restoring this, and we'll see you on the next one.